Tom and Jerry were tired. Their big house meant big chases and even bigger messes. One day, they saw a TV show about tiny houses. It's perfect, thought Tom. Less space to clean. Jerry thought, less space for Tom to catch me. They decided to build one together. Tom unveiled his blueprint, the feline fortress, with a giant catnip garden and a self-cleaning litter box. Jerry unrolled his, the rodent retreat, with a cheese cellar and a super-fast escape slide. They argued until the papers ripped, creating one messy, combined plan. They started by laying the foundation. Tom tried to pour concrete, but Jerry used a tiny shovel to redirect the flow, spelling his name. Tom slipped and sat right in the wet cement, leaving a perfect, grumpy cat-shaped imprint. It was time to build the wooden frame. Tom held up a wall. Jerry, with his tiny hammer, helped by nailing Tom's tail to the wood. Tom yowled and ran in circles, accidentally building the world's first spinning tiny house frame. Putting on the roof was tricky. Tom was on top, and Jerry was supposed to hand him shingles. Instead, Jerry handed him banana peels, rubber chickens, and whoopee cushions. The roof ended up looking like a messy, colorful patchwork. Tom tried to install a window. He measured once, guessed twice, and the window ended up being far too small. Jerry, however, loved his new personal-sized window and immediately hung a tiny curtain. They connected a water hose for the sink. Tom turned it on, but Jerry had mischievously poked holes in it. The house wasn't getting water, it was getting a sprinkler system, soaking them both. Wiring is easy, Tom declared, grabbing a handful of colorful wires. He connected them with a ZZ. A jolt of electricity shot through him, making his fur stand on end and his skeleton glow brightly for a second. He decided to take a break. To save space, they built a sleeping loft. Tom proudly climbed the ladder to test it, but Jerry had sawed the legs almost all the way through. As soon as Tom lay down, the loft collapsed with a mighty crash. They decided to build a porch. Tom laid down a fresh, sticky layer of glue for the floorboards. He didn't notice, and soon his big feet were completely stuck. He was glued to the porch of his own tiny house. The furniture was flat pack. Tom struggled with the confusing instructions for a chair. After hours of work, he held up a lopsided thing. He sat on it, and it instantly collapsed into a neat pile of boards. Jerry's tiny, perfectly assembled rocking chair sat nearby. Tom wanted the house to be blue. Jerry wanted it yellow. They decided to paint opposite sides. Of course, a paint fight started. Soon, the house was a splattered mess, and they were both covered in blue and yellow. It was time to move in. Tom tried to bring his giant, fluffy bed. It wouldn't fit through the miniature door. Jerry easily moved his little matchbox bed inside. Tom's bed got stuck, blocking the entrance completely. They were finally inside. The house was a mess, but it was theirs. Tom tried to stretch, but he bumped into every wall. Jerry tried to sleep, but Tom's loud snoring shook the whole structure. They were both miserable. The tiny house couldn't handle their rivalry. With one big sneeze from Tom, the whole structure wobbled, and then the walls fell outward, leaving them sitting in their beds, exposed to the world. The house had literally fallen apart. Sitting in the wreckage of their tiny home, they looked at each other. Then they started to laugh. They realized they didn't need a tiny house. They just needed to share their big house a little better.